Hi, happy Eiffel Tower Day Part 2 from my book, From Your Mouth to God's Ear. I'm Sharon Davis. I do my editing and proofreading online, hoping to empower those who are looking for perfection and not production. I left off at her life was not her own, contrary to experiences and expectation and appearances. Even though her shoe closet was bigger than the one room cabin of her ancestors, and their home was custom built from the ground, for his and her closets larger than the area of a New York City two-bedroom apartment. Her cadre of cars at the ready in the three-car garage and collections of minks, suedes, leathers, and all-hued furs, which irked many that PETA protests arose at the time when many black people could finally afford a mink or a fox or two, were highlighted by her troves of jewelry boxes, whose trinkets could be in the millions. The only jewelry that she wore religiously was her engagement and wedding rings, styled by Cartier, and a gold bangled bracelet from the local wig shop. Her value was minimized by the patriarchy of the time. The status quo was how it was and how it was meant to be kept that way. A wife who broached the thought of working was a sting to the collective masculine role. The thought that this union of the fabulous Treadwells was anything but picture perfect was never a consideration. It was like any other group that felt that what was done in Vegas stays there. Another chapter. Tell me what you think. She kept a photo album in the bedstand, and though she was always aware of its presence, pretended to ignore it, especially when drinking. Not moving from her bed, the components and the elements of the black and white photo were seared in her mind. Just as it were yesterday, she was back at the bar listening to the DJ spin the record, a demarcation of sorts in her psyche. It was her birthday, and she just wanted to be spontaneous and do something different. After the roving photographer shot their group picture with the couple who were their best friends of the moment, she looked at the amazing job that he had done and, not accepting a compliment on how attractive she was, dismissed it, but seeing herself suddenly as others did, possibly. She and the lady friend were in the cozy booth, snapping their fingers and grooving to the beat when a gentleman's voice of "May I have this dance" wafted over her shoulder. Smiling across at her friend, her abrupt "Excuse me?" and impromptu swerving around to look up at the unexpected bass sound was timely. It was also seen by her husband and his buddy exiting the men's room as a stab of territorial betrayal. And before words could be exchanged, the two men were exchanging expletives and being separated. Her protests only infused the situation. More than the misinterpretation of the encounter was the questionable slander on the other male's face of awaiting his next move. And before she could react, did what he'd never conceived of before, slapped her, which appeared to appease the covert questioning of a sense of finality and closure among the male gender. What else was he to do with all eyes on him? She often pondered while sipping a particular rosé. Whatever became of that woman? And when did she make the decision not to decide? Her thoughts, what were they? The shadow of her husband, who she was now. Could she even decipher what she thought apart from her husband? And did it matter to anyone in their circle of friends? The people she called friends. Who were they beyond their names and titles and incomes? Would she cease to exist without the name Treadwell III? She patted downstairs the circled crystal chandelier overhead with the magnificence of the day shining through the large, spacious, beautifully appointed parlor. It was part and parcel of the weights of the bag. She had run cool water and again placed the hand towel across the reddened side of her face. She assessed the room to assemble her thoughts, and while deciding whether to run a jacuzzi or a bath for herself, it was one of her favorite places to be, with the in-wall speaker systems throughout the TV niche in her own bedroom. Searching through her private wine cellar, she ignored the Dom Perignons and Chateau Rothschilds for the big box store Chardonnay. Almost empty. I need to make a call, she noted. Tell me what you thought and have a wonderful and blessed day.